He really wanted people of all ethnic and religious beliefs to be able to, you know, live side by side in a community that was accepting, you know. And I don't know of any other developer who,
Took that risk.
yeah, and also had that goal as a developer, you know, let's build a place that is accepting to everybody. I mean, they talk about maybe about it now. Maybe it's just as a result of people, but you know, as you know, there's still a tremendous amount of racism and
Oh, yeah.
misogyny and everything else.
The lives that this man has touched, you know, building this community.
Well, he also was involved in, you know, that project down in Baltimore City called Sandtown.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
He did a lot. Well, this was years ago, of course. I don't know what Sandtown is like now, but he was involved in providing affordable housing to low-income families. But I used to go over to Jim and Patty's house on Waterfowl Terrace in the fall, and we'd talk about the company holiday card for the Enterprise company. And he would give me a quote from one of his speeches, and we'd talk about it, and he'd say, well, you know, go back home and come up with some ideas. I'm probably going to have to do 2 coats on this. But unfortunately, I'm leaving the hardest ones to last, like the triptych in this. Hobbit's Glen. Mm-hmm. That's where all the wealthy folks
Yep.
live. In fact, it's still true, I understand. So I decided to put the golf course in there and a fancy sports car and a fat cat.
And he said these are completed.
Yes. This is one of my favorites. The reason why they stick together, I think, is because some of the drips on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder Hill.
But it's not ruining anything.
No, not really.
That's nice.
They're going up on big, tall, huge poles. No one's going to see any of the, you know, the runs.
So I guess we're going to have a ceremony for that.
Yeah, but you know, I probably won't be here.
Oh my goodness. I'll just have to videotape it and send it to you.
Yeah, because I don't know when they're going to make, CA is going to make the poles. This is another one of my favorites,
That was
Swansfield.
my neighborhood. Yep,
Yeah.
I remember that one well.
Yeah, see. And Dasher Green. As you can see, some were easier to do because they weren't so much detail, but boy, this one, Clemens Crossing,
Yes.
that
Very
has,
nice.
that has a lot of detail and a lot of different colors too.
Yep.
I like the little fish.
They coming up to say hi.
Yeah.
Let me go in closer on this one so I can see the fish. Okay.
They're talking to the turtle.
Well, me and my son was walking about a month ago, and the turtle came up and looked at us on one of our walks.
And this was kind of a fantasy one that I took from Pennsylvania folk art. Colonial guy on a rooster.
Jefferson.
Now this is just a kind of a plain one, but it took a lot of white paint because I painted the whole background.
It really brings out the trees.
Yeah.
And it's the birches, so. So did you start working on these as he decided what he was gonna, the next village was gonna be?
Uh-huh. Now there are a couple of them that I never did. I don't think I did Dickinson, and I don't think I did Pointer's Run up in River Hill. I did River Hill as a village, which...
Have you thought about doing those two to add to those collections?
Well, no one has talked to me about it because, you know, a lot of these I did as a contractor, you know, as an artist, and I got
Right.
paid
Pretty
X
much.
amount for each poster.
Right.
But see, I don't screen print anymore, so
Yeah, those are lovely.
so this one and those two over there, Longfellow and Huntington. This is another one of my favorites, Huntington. I just finished this one. Have to have the top coat on them. So I'll do that. I'll do these three, and these two in Talbot Springs I'll do late this afternoon just before I leave. But what I do is I just try to work on parts of these. I did a second coating on a new city, and now if it's dry enough, I'll have to finish up the white background. But you have to be careful because even if it's sticky, you know, if you're painting and your arm goes down on the paint.
Right. Then you gotta do it again.
Yeah. So what I'll probably do now, I'll wait till this sets up a little before I do the other side, and then I'll just work on Hobbit's Glen.
And then you have these over here. That will be your next set that you'll be.
Yeah, the triptych is going to be probably one of the most detailed ones.
I tell you, when them locusts were here and they were flying in and out of your car, that's how big they felt.
A lot of people didn't realize, I mean, I think that there's, you know, a beauty is found everywhere. So even a insect that makes people kind of yucky has beauty in it. You know, they have
Yes.
color and form and everything else. So, so now this blue is going to be the background of Hobbit's Glen, the sky, just like
Okay.
I think I used it on Clemens Crossing, the same blue.
I guess you had a cart full of paint when you went to go get that paint.
Well, I had to make a list. I had to go through everything, and I had pictures of all of these posters before, I mean, like this, in this condition. I think Barbara Kellner took pictures and sent them to me.
Right.
So I had to go through each one and try to figure out some of the different colors of paints that I would need to get. And that's what I came up with. Now there are some colors that I had to actually mix, you know,
Right.
to make that color.
You've done a lovely job. You're still doing a lovely job, and I know Columbia will appreciate having this art returned downtown.
Well, I hope so. I hope people will be able to, when they take their walks around Lake Kittamaqundi, you know, they can stroll around and look up and see bright, colorful things. And say, oh, gee, that's fun.
And now we get to stop and just take a breath and look up and see the beauty of these posters. And take, like I said when I was looking at this one, the fancy car. I know how Hopperscotch was known for families with money.
That's right.
Believe me, they went to school with me because I lived in Swansville, but they also went to Harper's Choice Middle School.
Yeah.
So I used to dream of living in houses over there. But I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and it's nice to have the opportunity to.
Oh, well, thank you for coming by.